interesting thing doing this for the 7 years I was in was I got to see places that a lot of people will never get to see in a lifetime. And I was very fortunate. So I counted, last count, more or less 70 countries. One of my, I guess if you want to call it, I don't know if it's something I should be bragging about, but we stayed in Cairo, our whole crew, and this is about my third trip overseas. And we ate some of the local food, and some of the local food just did not agree with us. But I thought I'd do something stupid. So again, I put on my running shoes, and we were about 3 or 4 miles from the pyramids. So what an experience. I'm going to go run to the pyramids. I'm going to run in that area and see those things. Well, I'm out there running along a highway, and nature kind of took control. And I'm in a bad spot because there was no bathroom out there. And a truck pulled over on the side of the road. And an Egyptian guy came out, his truck driver, and they're wearing the long, white, more traditional working gowns that they wear. Well, he goes on the side of the road, and I'm talking like right on the side of the road where the other cars and trucks are going by. And he squats down, pulls his road up about halfway, and he goes to the bathroom right on the side of the road. And so he's starting to do it, and I looked at him, I said, well, shoot, if he can do it, I think I can do it. So I went right up next to him and dropped my running shorts and sat right next to him and did my thing too, because I was sick and I had to go to the bathroom bad. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I waved to him, and he was like, who in the heck is this? And I pulled up my shorts, waved to him, and I took off and everything. So you can call that experience culture, I guess, but it probably wouldn't be the best way to say I did it. So I only had one real emergency. And as my dad used to say to me, who my dad flew for 40-something years. And he said, you know what the best war stories are? And I go, Dad, what are they? And he goes, none. You want to have a nice, boring career where nothing is going to happen. You know, that's better than getting a lot of medals, but maybe not living to talk about it. So there we were. It was the first time I was flying as a co-pilot, and we were doing something called airdrop. And in the simplest terms, we would send stuff out the back. We would send equipment. They had them on rollers, and the way they would slide out the back, they'd slide out the back, parachute would open up, and they would come down. And there I was on my first time, though. I was flying in the right seat, and Chris Villar was the captain. And we flew, I don't remember where we started that day. It was a long day. It might have come from North Carolina or maybe New Jersey. And we were flying out there over Wyoming to support the Army. They were doing some kind of, play in the woods kind of for the weekend. And we had a Jeep and we had a cannon in the back of our airplane. So the idea was we drop it out, the Army men run out of the brush, the woods, they untie it all, and then they drive off, and then they go do their war games. So there we were flying along. The Jeep went out the back, wing, you can hear it. And when something comes out of the airplane literally lurches up in the air and drops down. So the Jeep comes out, wing, everything comes up and down. Now the cannon goes out, slides out, feels like everything is normal. Chris is flying, I'm flying with him. We're getting ready to go to our checklist after we drop. And one of the gentlemen in the back, one of our load masters, what his job to do is get on the radio and go, all clear, and then we start shutting the doors and start doing our next maneuvers or flying back. Well, instead of saying all clear, we had a very strong or very senior enlisted guy, Ed Roberts, I think his name was. He was a senior master sergeant, and he's yelling, "Oh, shit!" He is screaming in the intercom. And we're going, what is going on? So we start looking at all our gauges. Everything looks good. The engines look good. We're able to fly the plane, the flight controls, and he is just yelling, "Holy mackerel, we don't know what's going on." So he calms down a little bit, but the doors are still open. It is noisy. And he has literally got a harness, and he is strapped to the back of that airplane. If not, he would have fallen out. And just as a side note, our loadmasters, when they're in the back and the doors are open, they literally wear parachutes. And to this day, I don't believe anyone has ever had to use one, and I hope they never had to. So we were in a position that, talking to him in the back, what are we doing? He says, "I can't get the door shut." Well, what happened was the cannon, when it was sliding out the back of our airplane, like this, it flipped up inside the airplane. And when it flipped up, the barrel of the cannon caught the inside roof ceiling of our airplane and slid it just like a can opener. Left a gap about that wide all through the inside of our airplane, all through the back. And then when it came out the back, underneath the tail is another cone, has something called a yaw damper. It hit the cone, knocked that off, bent that sideways, and there it went. So what we later found was that where it slit, where it cut in the ceiling of our airplane, if it had been 2 feet to the left, it would have cut all our flight controls, and we would not have made it. So we were lucky from that fact. But there it was, we were flying around with these big doors open, and we didn't know what to do. So we started calling around. We were in Wyoming. We were going to take the plane to South Dakota. We were going to take it to Oklahoma, Texas, the longest runway we could find, to see if we could land with those doors open. Because when we land and everything, those doors are going to hit the runway in the back. Who knows? They're going to scrape, or they're going to fall off, or we're going to have a fire. We don't know what to do. So, we got enough gas, and we're up there talking and everything. Well, long story short, we got lucky. They were able to get the doors shut, and we turned around and we diverted to Oklahoma, where we have a big Air Force base there, and landed the airplane. And when we got out, again, we thought the plane was fine. Oh, it flew fine, no problem. When we landed, when we looked at the back of that airplane, we said, "I think we need to go out and have a beer for the night. I think we're in pretty good shape." We did about $150,000 worth of damage to the back of the airplane. It was called a Class A mishap.
All right.
How was that?
Thank you very much.
Nailed it.